Well, I thought we'd have a little chat this morning about people dating in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and in some cases 90s. Possibly not too many in their 90s, but we do hear quite often of older, the older generation getting out there looking for new partners when they've either been widowed or they've separated after 50 years of marriage. It does happen, and I know someone in that category. It's a devastating thing, and a lot of older people do just resign themselves to being alone or by themselves for the rest of their lives. It doesn't have to be, if that's what you want. Many people are sick and tired of having to deal with a partner after decades and decades, and so life takes a bit of a turn. But I don't know, the subject of dating in your dotage, or what would we say, dating for the near dead, is something that does get discussed, and I know there are dating sites around for people in their twilight years, if we can put it that way. But given that the general thinking in the world is that people live much longer now, and there are many in their 70s and 80s who start a new life, I know of a very dear friend of mine who lives overseas and has married a lady of a different nationality to himself a number of years ago. Well, let's think about this now. We've got to get the facts right. Probably 7 or 8 years ago now. And they have 4 children, and those children are very young. He's in his 70s, early 70s, but a very fit and agile individual who is full of life and full of the exuberance of youth, if we can call it that, if you can use the term youth for someone of such advanced years. So life can begin for people at different times. I know the thought of older people getting together in an intimate sense, having sex, to put it plainly, is repugnant to a lot of younger people. And I know that some very young think that the thought of their parents, even in their 30s, having it off, getting sweaty between the sheets, engaging in far too much slap and tickle, is something that turns them off completely and makes them want to vomit spontaneously where they stand on hearing the news. But notwithstanding that, those of us of an older generation know full well that the libido can still be there, not in every case. In some cases people have had enough, they've moved on, they don't want to have anything to do with such matters, but in so many cases the virility of men, and indeed women, remains intact and as sort of strong as it always has been. And so life can offer those opportunities going forward. So it's not all lost. You can go a second or a third time. I do know people, as you no doubt do as well, people who've been married a number of times or have had multiple relationships through their lives, and they just don't stop. And that brings you to the matter of the different types of people that we all are. Some people like to be on their own and enjoy life to the full on their own. Other people like to live life as part of a couple without having children, and I know someone in that category too, who they just enjoy life to the full without the constraints of children, and indeed one might argue the great joys of having children and the benefits that flow from that over the years. But and then there are others who just have lots and lots of children, and their lives are enriched along the way with the company of their children, and also grandchildren and great-grandchildren in some cases that come along. So there are different ways to live life, but I think everyone has an opportunity to explore the best that they can do for themselves and find love and happiness in whichever and whatever way that they are able to do so. So it's a fascinating thing, but I do feel that it's a subject that does need talking about, and I think I did hear, actually, interestingly enough, I did hear from someone recently who works in a rest home, and other parts of the world you may call them aged care facilities, who told me that a lot of the older folks in those homes are hard at it between the sheets. They are, for want of a nicer, plainer, more civilised, respectable, refined way of putting it, hard at it fucking between the sheets. And let's be honest, you've got this Monty Python-esque image, well, I certainly have in my mind, of these old gentlemen chasing the old ladies through the corridors of the rest homes with hard-ons, wanting a bit of it, and wanting it now, because time is running out for them, of course. So there's a humorous side to it, but I think we just have to remember that people are human animals in a way, and we have needs and drives, and those things don't automatically stop when you turn 59 or 60 or 70 or 80 for that matter. Although, as alluded to before, I think once you get north of 80, perhaps the ability to do some of these things certainly wanes. And some of you will indeed know what I'm talking about. But however, that's a bit of a thought for today. Think about that, and we'll see you next time.